Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis is a free-to-play massive update and complete game overhaul to the popular Japanese game Phantasy Star Online 2, and in many people's opinion, should have been called Phantasy Star Online 3. The game can be found on Steam, and as of this review, the game has mixed reviews on Steam from the user base. It was released to the Western continents in 2021 and was published and developed by SEGA. It's an open-world online action RPG, which can almost be considered a MMORPG without the massive element, as in population, coming into effect. The game allows up to 32 people to team up and features high-quality modern-day graphics, an open world to explore, a fully acted main quest line with cutscenes, and new and improved combat animations and effects. On paper, the game sounds decent, and in the Eastern continents, the game did very well for itself when it was originally released back in 2012. But 9 years later, players are seeing this game for the first time, and the question becomes, can polishing a 9-year-old game up a bit with new graphics and animations be enough for the game to recapture a glory it once had in a different time on a different continent? Let's find out together in this ×2 review. Hey guys, Extermicide here, and I'm with my buddy Ark.
Hey guys, nice seeing you again.
And it's time for another ×2 review, and today we are doing Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Are you familiar with the Phantasy Star series of freaking games at all?
I've never played them, honestly. This is just, never have. So this will be a new experience for me.
All right. So it's kind of a weird freaking situation. Let's see, Phantasy Star Online came out back in 2001 and was actually made for the Sega Dreamcast. And to connect online, this is back when you had to use dial-up internet connection. So just kind of put things in perspective there. Later on in 2012, they came out with Phantasy Star Online 2 in Japan. It was a smash hit. Everybody loved it. Yeah, June of 2021, they came out with what they did is they took Phantasy Star Online 2 and revamped it, revamped the graphics, revamped the music, revamped the combat in it. They redid everything and released it to the States. So technically it's a remake of Phantasy Star Online 2, but quite honestly, anyone who's actually played it, played both games, say that this should actually have been called Phantasy Star Online 3 instead of, Online 2 New Genesis. It just added a bit of confusion there. So let's dive into it.
Yeah, let's do this.
So click and start game is so these ships are basically zones that the way I understand it, and they all have a normal population right now. So I'm going to say ship 1, Theo. That's where we're going to go.
All right.
Character creation selection. Create new character. So, being a Japanese game, yes, this is going to be a very anime type looking game. So we can be the humans, we can be the new man, the cast, or the Doomon. Well, the cast look interesting, almost robotic, especially the woman there. I really don't know what I'm gonna go with the cast.
Cast? All right. You going 1 or 2?
2. More pleasant on the eyes.
All right.
So you got 3 different. Interesting. I'm gonna go with that third one. Okay, so also you can actually sit there and go through and do the body, the head, and all that. Okay, so we're gonna just confirm. I'm just gonna go with the default bodies just to save time. Class selection: Hunter, Ranger, Force, Fighter, Gunner, and Tector. What the hell's a Tector? Tector, a class geared towards close-up and long-range combat. So from the way I understand it, you can actually learn all of these classes on your character at some point. So if you're leveling up as a hunter and then all of a sudden you get bored as a hunter and you want to start playing as a ranger, you'll suddenly start leveling up the ranger aspect of it. And then you can switch back to your hunter and your hunter will still be level 23 or whatever it was when you left it. I think that's pretty cool. I wish they would do that in more games instead of making you re-roll characters and having a different character. It just kind of makes more sense. Level all the different classes, each on their own. I'm gonna go with the hunter.
I'm gonna go with the gunner.
All right, and I was able to choose my name of Extermicide. That worked out perfect. Are you sure you want to create your character using the information you entered? Yes.
Pod 909, system check. Complete. Status, all systems go. Commencing ejection sequence. Standby. Reaching target coordinates in 10 seconds. Confirming final landing trajectory. Error adjustment complete. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Eject.
Hey, what's that? It's a meteor! It's going to land nearby. I'll go take a look. Hey, wait a minute! Oh no, it's smoking! How do you open this thing? Hello? Are you alright in there? Wait, is this it?
No, let me out! Well, hello!
Oh, thank goodness! It opened! Here, take my hand! You really startled us falling out of the blue. Does anything hurt? Are you okay? I'm Aina. And you are?
I am a mute.
Oh, wow. That's a really nice name. Well, it's so nice to meet you. Come on, I'll show you to our town. We can talk more there. So, first, we gotta climb up this cliff.
All right, kind of liking the double tapping for the speed increase and the double tapping of the spacebar for the double jump. So we're going to be introduced to
a dolls unit?
our first
What
fight
is it
already.
doing here? Manon!
A petasword, huh? I should be able to handle something like this. I'm taking it on. What about you, Meteorn?
I'll help too.
Focus on defending yourself.
Daddy's a badass.
Yeah, he is.
So this is what I had that bad feeling about, huh? Ina, Manon, you all right? Good. So, who are you? I'm Garawa. Nice to meet you. I guess if you just dropped down here, you're probably feeling kind of clueless, right? I know Manon's memory was pretty intact, but in your case, maybe not so much, huh? But we can talk about it when we get back to town. Ina, Manon, are you done gathering the rest assigned?
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot.
Well, they seem to have done a fairly good job with the voice acting being translated to English.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that'll do. We're going back to town now. Well, we need to cross here. But what about you? Got any experience with gliding?
Gliding?
You gather photons, the energy in your body, into your arms and your legs.
You do that, then jump off from here. Even if you screw it up, it's just the sea down there. Go on, give it a go.
Yikes, tough teacher.
Easy peasy. Didn't even let me get all the way into a landing before freaking scene switches.
How rude.
Welcome to our humble little Alio town. I'm sure everybody here will give you a warm welcome.
And they're all happy and they're all beautiful and friendly, and you know bad shit's gonna freaking happen anytime now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I'm trying to think, what the heck is that thing that's floating above our heads?
I don't know what that is.
When I look at a front view, it looks like it's some kind of camera or something. I don't know.
This is my place. Come on in.
So Papa's inviting strange girls into his house already.
Doesn't waste any time.
Well, like I said, I'm Garawa. I'm the leader of this town. This here's Ina, my daughter.
That's me.
And over there is Manon.
A pleasure.
First of all, you're probably wondering where in the world you are. Let's start with the planet. We call this one Halpha. And this is a town on that planet, called Alio Town. It's a pretty small place though, as you can see. To the north of here is Halpha's largest city, named Central City. Central City is the seat of Halpha's government and economy. I'm sure you'll have the chance to visit it at some point. And then, there are the dolls. The ones you just fought were the smaller class of them. Petus swords, they're called. And let me tell you, us Halfans have been at war with these dolls for a very long time.
Dolls.
How long, you ask?
The enemy are
Well,
called
let's see.
dolls.
They say it's been over 500 years.
There you go. But we still don't understand very much about them, though, I'm afraid. Why do they attack us? Where do they come from, even? We really have no idea. About the only thing we do know for sure is the dolls are our sworn enemy. I guess you could say they're just one big mystery to us. Kinda like you Meteorn. Meteorn is what we call people like you. The folks who show up here on Alpha from space in those landing pods. Manon here is also a Meteorn. She dropped down on that little island about half a year ago, and now she lives with us. Meteorn, dolls, we don't know where either of you come from, or even why you come here. For some reason, Meteorn all seem to arrive here with no memory of their past. You too, right? Once in a while, there are exceptions, though. Like Manon here.
The only difference between me and the other Meteorn is that I still have a few fragments of knowledge left.
Manon is really smart. She knows so much about machines. She even helps me with my studies.
There are some people who have the theory that both the dolls and Meteorn probably come from the same place. But whether that's true or not, I can say with confidence that you Meteorn are our friends. You guys have been our allies for a long time. Of that, there is no doubt. Anyway, I guess that's enough of a lecture for today. I'll send everything we just talked about to your mag. That thing floating next to you is a mag, by the way.
Oh, that thing floating above our
Your
head, it's a
mag
mag.
is much more advanced than the ones we have. That's another unique thing about your
Ours is
Meteor.
advanced.
But we'll go into more detail on that later. Hey, are you hungry?
Yeah, I'm hungry.
All right, let's get our grub on then. Why don't you take a look around the town while we get it ready?
I find it funny that they speak all our language and everything, but certain items, every item is some weird name.
Right?
This does kind of remind me of Blade and Soul in a way.
Kind of makes you want to put on a Hawaiian shirt or something out here on the.
I'm telling you, we're freaking overdressed.
Yes, we are.
Hey, you're back. I bet you're tired. Why don't you take it easy here for a while?
Yeah, you're back. I bet you're tired. Why don't you just take it easy here for a while? Really? You said you were gonna go get me some food. I've been sitting there doing work for your entire tribe. I'm hungry. Where the hell's my food?
Great.
Okay,
I'll go check on the preparations. Make yourself at home, okay?
Yeah.
Ready for refreshments? It's nothing special, but we put a little something together. It's a long-standing Halfin custom to offer the warmest welcome we can to our Meteorn guests. Come on, follow me. We got a pretty big turnout to welcome you to Alio Town. Almost everybody in town. Here's some for you. Well, are you ready, everybody? Introduce yourself.
Oh my god, the gibbering of everyone talking on the island party is just...
A toast to our new
awful.
friend. Cheers!
Cheers!
Beautiful here, don't you think? You know, I really love this place. I want to make damn sure no harm ever comes to these good people. Ark's defenders. They're the warriors who do battle with the dolls. Both me and Manon are full Ark's defenders. But Ina over there is still an apprentice. You know, before I showed up to that battle back there, it looked like you were pretty evenly matched with that Pettis sword. Arks could use more good fighters. I, for one, think you'd make a great addition to the Arks team. But look, I don't need an answer right away. See how you like it here, and give it some good thought. Listen, why don't we call it a night?
Yay, something bad's gonna happen.
Are you injured?
Thank you, Manon.
Not good. Looks like the ones earlier were just scouts. Dolls! We're under attack! Everybody, at the ready! Hurry!
Do you like these games with all the cinematic cuts and stuff like that and everything?
Yeah, cutscenes. I can't hear you.
They're coming!
Okay, what were you saying?
Protect the town!
I was gonna ask you, are you a fan of having all these cutscenes and stuff like that and everything?
Not this many.
Yeah, to me, I really felt like this is really excessive. I mean, I get that they want to have the plot and the storyline, but man, this is like, I'm not even fighting, dude. Like, this is like...
There comes a point when you don't feel like you're playing the game, but you're more watching a movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
What the hell is that? Ina, take these two and run to the northern caves!
What? But Dad!
Look, we'll just get in the way here, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Ina, let's go!
But wait! I can't!
Come on! You two!
Go!
Wait. Ooh. It took a fatal blow.
Dad! What the...
I didn't think it would be this bad.
All right, you ready to score this?
Yes, I am.
Let's start off with graphics. I'll go ahead and start this one off. Graphics, I felt, were very colorful, very vibrant, on a cartoony level, but it's to be expected for an anime type game. There were two things that did kind of bother me. There were certain quest areas where I felt like, and I think it was by design. I think it was a special effect that they had in the game, but it almost made my screen look like it was experiencing screen tearing, where I didn't know if it was my video card causing that or if it was at the actual game itself. But I think that's by design. I think it was supposed to look like that, so I'm not going to fault that too much. And the other thing is, during the cinematics were wonderful. They were beautiful, but by the same token, I kind of had a little bit of a problem with the voices not really matching the lip sync that was going on. So they could have done that a little bit better graphic wise, I think. But maybe that just became an issue when they translated it from Japanese to English, and then all of a sudden, you know, the lip sync just doesn't match up perfectly anymore. Overall, graphics I thought were pretty good for what they were. I'm going to fall on an 8 here.
I thought they were good. I think that when you looked further away, it got really, maybe that's just my graphic settings, but mine was actually set on, I think it was on high. It was like second from the highest. And, but I was still seeing a lot of pixelating really far away and everything, but I didn't really have nothing really negative to say about it. It did feel like a bit like a big, cartoonish a little bit, but didn't really have nothing really against it. So I'm gonna give it a 7.
All right, next we have sound and music. You want to go ahead and take this one first?
I thought the music was good. It was comforting, but eventually it got old. And also the sound is like, you got to turn the sound down when you first start. That was like super, super loud. I don't know why they set that. Maybe it was my settings or something, but I didn't have nothing against it again. I liked it. It was loud. So I'm going to give it a 7 again.
I will reaffirm that yes, the volume was kind of loud, and you definitely have to adjust the volume once you start playing the game. The worst of it is when you first load up the game, the SEGA logo coming on your screen. It's just like blow your eardrums off. So sound and music, I'm going to judge each of these individually. The sound effects I thought were spot on. I thought they were just done very, very well. Not a problem with any of that. Music, however, like you said, for one, again, the music starts to get monotonous. It just starts to get repetitive. It just starts to, you know what? I think most people, when they start playing MMOs, eventually you enjoy the music to a certain extent, and then you get to a point where you just turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that could go like a month or two before I start turning off the music. But this game, it's like an hour, 2 hours later, I'm done. That's it. This music is really starting to freaking eat away at my brain, and I'm feeling the pressure start to build up. But for me, in this game, it just got monotonous, and it got monotonous actually pretty freaking quick. So where I like, I'm not a big fan of the freaking music, but I was a big fan of the sound effects in the game. I'm gonna have to fall right here in the freaking middle and say a 5 for sound and music. Next we have story, and I'll start this off. Yes, I almost feel like there's like 99% of this freaking game is story. There's so much freaking story that let's freaking throw 100 cutscenes within a 5-minute freaking period. In fact, if you're gonna play this game, make yourself some popcorn. Sit back, because you're gonna be watching a freaking movie for a little bit. And it actually has a pretty damn good story. So yeah, story, you know, I'm gonna actually go ahead and say, yeah, there's a story there, and I'm gonna give it a 10.
I can't say anything less than what you said. So I completely concur to what you said, and so I'll give it a 10 too.
Next we have combat. You want to start this one?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the combat. I think the character that I picked was very enjoyable. Once we actually got to doing things, I really enjoyed it. I started really getting more immersed with my character, and the combat was fun, and he was able to do things. And so I really personally really enjoyed it. I'm not a fan of the tab targeting and the auto lock, where it doesn't matter what I do, I'm always going to be hitting it. I prefer to actually have action or combat targeting, where I have to try to aim for something. I guess that's what we're used to now. Nonetheless, I still think it was a great game, so I'm gonna give that one a 9.
Yeah, this is some of the best action combat that I've seen in a more recent game, and they did a really good job with the action combat. It felt smooth, it felt fluid, it felt fast, it felt comfortable, it felt really good. So I'm right there with you. I'm gonna fall on a 9 with the combat also. Next is gameplay. I'll go ahead and take this first. Gameplay to me was, and I really don't know how to word this, and I don't want to do the game an injustice. The learning curve for this game is very, very high. They throw you into tutorial of giving you the story, but at the same time, they're throwing all these new commands at you or telling you how to do this and how to do that and how to do whatever. But they're throwing so much information at you that it's almost brain overload. You know, it's just like you feel like your head is just going to explode. To make matters even worse, they decided that any kind of item in the game, let's call it a different name than what we normally would call it. So, you know, you come down from a spaceship in a pod, but they call it a magna something or another. A sword, something as simple as a sword, they might call something else. Everything that's an actual item in the game has a totally unique names. So you almost have to basically, while you're playing this, you have to learn a new language. So it's not like, you know, they're already throwing all this stuff at you. Okay, to do this, you have to do this. And there's a lot of combos in the combat here. So you're learning a lot of combo skills, you know, Q, left click, you know, they're throwing all these combos to you. So you're trying to retain this information. You're trying to learn this information. At the same time, you're learning a freaking new language as to what's, you know, everything is being called, and it's just brain overload. So the actual questing, though, however, if I was to put everything on a normal scale with every other MMO, the questing was good. It was smooth and everything, but it was that brain overload of trying to throw so much at you so quickly that just kind of starts to make your brain melt. It starts to make your head freaking hurt at some point. If they had just spaced it out, you know, as you're leveling up higher, there's no reason to throw everything in the game and teach you everything in the first 4 levels. Spread it out as you're freaking leveling, and, you know, and let people have time to retain the information that's being thrown at them. It's tough because I kind of like the gameplay on one parts, but, you know, there's a lot of it that I don't like, so I'm going to fall on a 6 here.
I'm going to go with a 7. I feel that, yes, they don't need to fire hose you all within the first 2 levels. I think that they can spread these things out and make it a little more, you can absorb it at your comfort rate, that type of thing. I think the game is fantastic. I think that the game is a lot of fun. Once you understand everything, once you got a feel for what to do and how to do it, it becomes easier and you become more immersed in everything. But just that initial learning curve in the very beginning was just so steep, and you do feel like you're getting overwhelmed. So I'm gonna give it a 7.
Next up brings us to character creation. Go ahead.
Okay, so when I made my character, I actually did dig deep into the actual customization of creating your character, and you can go very deep into this. And so I think that for those people who really want to be very specific and unique of how they're building their character, I think you can spend over an hour just messing with and tweaking those type of things if you really want to. Thankfully, they do have a default character that you can just pick and go with, but I do feel that there's a lot of things that you can do with this. So for that, I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay, so I did go with the default character just to speed things up a little bit and everything. But yeah, you know, I did see that there was plenty of options there to really dig into it and change the look of your character and all that. So I think the whole character customization, what they offer in there, I think is pretty freaking well done. So I'm going to go ahead and fall on an 8 with that. All right, next we have population. You want to go ahead and take this one?
Yeah, you mentioned it before that, you know, the maximum amount of people you can have is 32 people in the server. So that really it really cuts it down to where you really don't feel like either you don't have to compete for certain mobs, which is good, but then you also have the ability that you can have 32 people grouped together, which is good. But I still feel as if it was still alone and quiet and everything. And I'm not a big fan of that. I like to see the robust feeling of moving and action and people moving and doing things and maybe even fighting over a mob or, you know, that type of thing. Those are the things I enjoy. So for the population, honestly, I'm giving it a 2. I didn't care for that.
Yeah, so, you know, unlike a typical MMO RPG, they decided to have blocks. This is what they call the channels, and they decided that they were going to cap it off at 32 people per channel. So you can go in with 32 friends and go ahead and conquer a raid boss, and that's all cool and everything, but trying to form a party out of random people that might be in that freaking channel and everything, that seems like it would be a little bit more difficult, a little bit more tedious. Even grouping up for smaller things, I would assume, would be just kind of harder to have happen when there's less people in a channel. So I see a lot of people probably like, oh, I can't do this boss myself, and this is the part of my main quest I'm on. I'm gonna hop over to a different channel and see if I can get someone over there to help. Nope, no one on this channel either. I'm gonna hop to another freaking channel. So I see that kind of becoming possibly a thing and possibly problematic. I'm gonna land in the middle. I'm gonna land with a 5 on the population, because it is by design to be like this. So I don't know, maybe the Japanese people are just a little bit more organized than we are, and this works for them, and maybe it just doesn't translate to the West as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a 5. Next we have UI and menus. This to me would probably be one of the game's biggest problems. There is, I spoke earlier about there just being so much information being thrown at you, and trying to find some of that information in the user interface and in the menus. There's got to be an easier way to lay it out. So games that I've seen that I consider to have a very complicated menus and UI, this game makes those look good by comparison. I think this is where I'm going to have to give one of the lowest scores of the game. I'm going to say a UI and menus. I'm falling on a freaking 3 here.
I think that the UI is very complex, and there's a lot of information to go through, but to also have to have that muscle memory to understand which keybind you need to hit in order to get to that point, to find that all that information, to where they could have easily did like maybe an escape and then have tabs on the top or all the way across the top, and they could just pick down as a drop down menu or something like that. But it was not easy to navigate. I'm sure if I spent another month or so, I know it would become secondhand. But for this, I'm actually going to I'm going to give it a 6.
Wow, I'm actually really surprised you went that high.
Yeah.
Next we have chat spam, and honestly, I didn't see any chat spam. Now, you can attribute that to the fact that you can only have 32 people on a server or a block, and you can also attribute that to the fact that probably on the block we were in, there probably wasn't even close to being 32 people.
Right.
Regardless, there was no chat spam when we were testing this, so I have no option but to go ahead and give it a 10 for chat spam, because there was none.
As when it comes to chat spam, I'll definitely give it a mark for that. I'm going to give it a 7, because there is nobody talking in the chat and everything. Though I feel that even though with 32 people, I know that there's portals that show you exactly how dense each block is. We weren't on one that it was not as busy, so therefore the chat wasn't as bad. So I'm going to give it a 7.
And that brings us to Cash Shop Pay to Win. Looking up online in the Reddits and everything, basically what I have found out about this game is that it's more leaning towards pay for convenience. And basically you can pay the $15 a month premium access, and what that gives you is access to sell your items on the in-game store. However, if you're a free-to-play player and you're not paying for that premium access, then you don't have the luxury of being able to sell your things on the in-game store. So that makes it a little bit more difficult for a free-to-play player to make money as fast as a premium player, and that kind of can lean a little bit towards pay to win in a way. Again, everyone's categorizing it more as a pay for convenience. So I'm going to go ahead and land on a 5 here. I don't like the sound of that, of a free-to-play player not being able to sell things to, the store where someone who's paying $15 a month can. I don't like games that sit there and say, oh, you're paying $15 a month, you get more inventory space and you get only a few slots because you're not giving us more money. I think making money in a cash shop should be cosmetic. That's where I stand very firm on that. It should be something that is not going to hinder a player's enjoyment. And if you want to hinder a person's enjoyment, you shouldn't have made the game free to play in the first place. You know, that's just, to me, very poor marketing. You're going to turn people off. And then what are they going to do? They're going to, by word of mouth, tell their friends, yeah, that game kind of sucks because of this and that. I'm going to land on a 5 for cash shop pay to win.
I completely agree with what you said. I am going to give it a 5 as well. I think that it's definitely a pay for convenience, which is the plus side of it. But I don't like the fact that you're being forced to pay for something in order to get to that point. I don't want to pay just so I can be comfortable playing the game, and so I'm just going to go on a 5.
So adding my score together, I came up with a total of 69.
I added mine together. I came up with a total of 67.
Adding those totals together gives us a total of 136. And dividing that by 2, since there's 2 of us playing, gives us a final score of 68. Which gives us a final letter grade of... With a grade of C, this game is pretty average. It's not a great game, but it's not a horrible game neither. There are just better games out there that you can try, but then again, there are also worse games. But if you're looking for something new and you have already tried a majority of the other games out there, then give this one a go. Who knows? This just might become your new favorite if you can overlook some of its non-game breaking flaws. Anyways, that's it for our ×2 review for this game. We hope you enjoyed it and found it informative, and we will catch you again on the next ×2 review.